Welcome back, my dear student. So, in this lecture, we are going to be learning another piece of the CRUD with the Mongo client, which is the update, create, read, update, which is the next one. And there is a really good documentation on the MongoDB website. I will show you that later on. So, the first thing that we need to do is, of course, like with everything that we do, make sure that you put your comment here, okay? We can say fetching data here like that. This one would be um, inserting or creating data. Okay, I don't do that because I want to save time and I want to, create lectures as soon as possible. So that way you guys don't have to wait 30 minutes for me to finish. Okay, so we got the creating data part of the CRUD, the fetching, which is the reading. Okay, and let's change that just to reflect the name CRUD. And now we're gonna do updating. Okay, and of course we need to access the DB again, and we have this DB right here, and we're just gonna say DB collection. We're gonna access the mammals collection like that, and here we need to find, okay, whatever we want to modify, right? So there are many different, as you can see here, different methods that we can use. Now you might be asking yourself, which one should I use? Well, this comes with experience, okay? But we're gonna use one that is called find one, which that's what we want, and update right here, just like that. It's the easiest one. And we need to give it this field is already inside every document by default. Remember that this is where the new ID is created. Okay, now we can go ahead and copy the ID from one of the fields that we got here. Okay, let me just make this smaller here so that way I can. So I'm gonna grab one of these, copy that. Okay, now remember that this field is not entirely a string. Okay, let's create this new object ID like this. We already have this object ID here. We have one here. I'm just gonna comment this out, right? And inside here, we're just gonna make it this one, the one we just grabbed right there, okay? So now we have this object, and let's just come and bring it down here. There is another parameter that we need to use here when we are updating it, okay? This parameter has to do with operators, and I'm going to show you that right now in the documentation. Let's come back here, and let me see if I can find the documentation to show you right here. Okay, so if you search on my best friend Google and you search for MongoDB update operators, you should find the page. And here are some of the operators that you can use. Okay, you can increment, minimum, and maximum in specific fields, renames a field, set, and this is the one that is most popular, set. Okay, and as you can see here, we use this dollar symbol to indicate that we are using a operator. Okay, and then of course whatever you want to set, very similar to what we do in MySQL with the set, but of course we're using object based. Okay, here let's make this a little bit more readable like that, and let's come back here and let's just write let's do set and now it has a value here, and this is where we want to set what is it that we want to do. And this has another object here, and we want to set the name of that field to whatever we want, and we're just going to say update it here, update it, just like that. Simple as that, guys. Okay, perfect. So now if we go down here, we have this object is not defined on line 11. That's because I made some type of error here. And let's just come back here. And now if I already refreshed, that's going to refresh the data. But let's come back here and see what we got. This was the data that we were supposed to update. And we come back here and refresh. We see that it says updated now. Okay. So let's come back out again. One thing to keep in mind that I also wanted to mention is that this also accepts promises. I don't know if you are very familiar with promises, okay? But promises is a way of ensuring that our data either was returned to us as a um, successful command, or it was not successful, okay? So we can change that here. We can say then, like this, okay? And then we can also, at the end of that, use a catch to signify some type of error returning to us. Here we get a result, right, of that data that was updated. If it was updated successfully or not, we get that there. Catch would mean that we have some type of issue. To look real quick about this result that we get here, and I'm gonna use a fat arrow function here to show you. And let's just do console result, okay? And we can say the same thing for error if for some reason that error was not, that data was not updated, okay? So let's come back here. Gosh, there we go. So you can see here that it says last arrow object and one updated existing true, and then it was updated. So let's come back here and say updated number 2. There we go. Okay, so now that field was updated again, and we got the same value. So let's come back here to our data, and there we go. Now it says number 2. Now what it's saying here is that this was updated. Okay, whatever was updated, but it's not giving us the result of the new updated one. Okay, we're not asking for that. We're asking for this field, for this one here. Okay, super simple. Now if we have some type of error, let's just come back here, and now we get that error there. Argument pass must be a single string of 12 bytes or a single string of 24 hex characters. Okay, and you saw in the documentation that we can convert this new object ID into a string, and we can convert it to hex characters if we wanted to. Okay, let's just come back here. There we go. So now you know how to create, okay, data using MongoDB, the MongoDB client. You know how to fetch it, and you know how to update it. And we learn about the update operators, which are pretty awesome. So if you're welcome to go and check on the documentation, what else can you do with them? But we're going to be learning on this course some of the things that we can do with the data in our database, okay? Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next lecture.